So that's a lot compared to that's almost more than 6 times Google.
Google is program.
But these companies, they are leveraging the infrastructure that's been paid for by tax money. But they are not. So these companies, they operate in countries where there is infrastructure, where there are good roads, where there's education. It's all been paid for by tax money, but they are not paying into the system. They're using it, but not paying into it. And they're getting very rich as a result of that. So that is something that pisses a lot of people off. So what we saw as an example of things that make people get angry and make people believe that the system is rigged is, for example, the tax havens that are being used globally, where some countries are offering special tax exemptions to companies that enable them to reduce their tax burden from 35% to close to 0%. And that means that just through some automatic leveraging the global financial system and leveraging the global tax differences, they are capable of evading taxes. Even though it's legal, it's ethically, morally, it doesn't really seems to be legal. Seems to ethically, it's wrong. I would argue. Morally, it's wrong, even though it's not illegal, but ethically, it's wrong. Why should Amazon only pay 2% taxes while they are kicking their competitors who have physical stores in London, in New York, and everywhere, who provide a good service, but who cannot compete with a competitor who pays more than 30% less tax than they do? That is unfair competition. And another thing is that basically the existence of these companies that make that a lot of people lose their jobs.
Of course.
And that means that the people who lose their jobs, they need time, if they can, to be retrained, re-educated, to actually get skills that are currently in demand. But because they don't pay any taxes, we don't have any money to actually pay these people, to give them the time to readjust themselves and to become marketable again, to get marketable skills. So the tax system favors the global companies, the big players, the most educated people in the world, and they give them an unfair advantage. That's what's pissing people off. The money deluge is another example where states who don't get enough money or who have become part of the EU, for example, and who have been free riding the monetary arrangements within EU by overspending and by misreporting their financial household, and that led to near collapse of the EU, which led to basically a lot of banks going out of business.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of banks, because they are the ones who loaned money to Greece. They are the ones who who lended money to EU. So when we say that we are bailing out Greece, actually we're bailing out the banks who lent money to Greece. So it's not really that we're trying to keep Greece alive, we're keeping the banks alive. But what we see actually, what banks are doing and what everything is doing, the only way that we can weather this is as a system, is that if we make the interest very low, because there's so much debt pumped into the system. So much debt over debt over debt over debt.